like I said, American Home Satellite. What they're doing for you, they all take your money. United TVR, all these places take your money or want to take your money, but what are they doing for your money? I think if you read Hot Sheet, you'll find out what they're doing for your money. It isn't cheap right now. I believe the price is going up to $119, but I believe right now is it still at, I don't know what it is. It's either $89 or $69. I don't know which one it is, but it's in that area, and it is worthwhile for any dealer to subscribe to it. Please order through us because that's the way we make money. We get a commission on it, so we don't make much, but buy from us because we need you to order from us. Here we have a, I know, but I'm just going to do it again. Here's the Tiger motor. Don't forget we have it. They're hard to come by. A lot of you burn them out. So we have the Tiger motors that nobody else seems to have. And we have it with all the adapters. We just don't have the Tiger motor, which is fine. We have it the adapters, so it will work with all the different feeds out there, which is not what most people have. We have button hooks again. We got these back by popular demand. They are $19. They do have the L bracket at the top that you put two U-bolts around this tube, and you can adjust the focal distance. This is a great tube, 40 inches in total. If you have to go to Nashville as a dealer, please go with the idea that you're going to ask questions and want answers. Do not go and let them hoodwink you into thinking they're really doing the right thing by you. They've been in power for over 2 years now, and what is the right thing they've done by you? If somebody could answer that, I'd get off my high horse and go away. I wouldn't bother. But I can't see how they've helped this industry one bit. Indeed, I think they've hurt this industry. We have lost another, in the last 2 years, we've lost another 29 to 30% of all the dealers in the industry, and manufacturing distributors as well. So think about that. What have they done? And we've all lost. So good night. Stay tuned for Yellow Rain. It will be scrambled. We do want to thank you for joining us, and stay tuned. If you need a decoder for Yellow Rain, you can order it. It's $89 with 2 years of programming. Thank you so much, and good night. C2. Well, hello. Welcome back. Now, you know, there's a story about a guy that killed the golden goose, right? Some of you out there very well may think the golden goose has been all that free programming you've seen on the air because you have a chip box. Particularly those of you that have what's called the wizard technology, where you've been able to load in the secret keys for receiving first run and viewer's choice and all these pay-per-view services you're not supposed to watch, or even if you're on a dish legally and want to subscribe, you couldn't even watch them because they won't sell you programming. Well, it appears that you're going to not be able to get those programmings much longer, because I don't know why, frankly, GI has spent so long in doing what they appear to be doing. But they appear to be changing the pointers on a weekly basis and changing your working key on a weekly basis and instead of on a monthly basis. Now, frankly, that's not very hard for them to do. And furthermore, there are not that many pay-per-view boxes out there to make it hard for them to do. And because the pay-per-view box is always on the channel, it's always there to get the seed key and the information. So, it looks to me like you're going to lose those special pay-per-view services, at least from the standpoint of hearing them. You'll always be able to see them because that's one of the flaws of the video cipher. But you're not going to hear them any longer. Is this the product that killed the golden goose? I don't know. Some people say it is. Why? Because this is the product that is the Data Master 2 that automatically figures out which seed key or working key to work with to turn on a particular service. It's the only one like it out there as far as I know. I don't think the GI Buster quite does it the same way. Whereby if you were to have gone to a viewer's choice or any of the above, any of those special pay-per-views, this one would automatically figure out which working key to use for it. Now, I don't know whether GI is elected to try to change the working key on a weekly basis because of this chip or whatever, but it is kind of interesting that when this chip finally became available, GI has immediately started to change the working key on a weekly basis, or thereabouts anyway. No one's exactly sure how often it's happening because there are only a few boxes that anybody ever pulled the working key out, pulled this have as a clone of a cable box that has that information in it. But there will be still some people. Well, let me, as long as we're looking at that, I think those of you that may not understand, this is a PAL chip on top of a 256. And this is what replaces U30. This is one of the reasons why some people that know about the data master realize that it can't be copied, because this special PAL chip is a special non-readable type. So that for those people that want to knock off the data master, and it seems like there are about 4 or 5 companies out there doing it, or attempting to do it, from what I've heard, they're having a bit of trouble with it because of this special upper chip. I don't know why they would bother, because in lots, I understand this chip is more than reasonable. So I don't know why you'd bother trying to knock it off, because I don't think anybody's going to sell it as cheap as the original person that made it. Well, anyway, that's a story for another day. By the way, there's a lot about that chip, a lot of legal things. This is a stock U30. It is the only unique chip on the market right now, besides the Buster, and the Buster everybody knows about. So, and I don't like any of the chips out there that force you to be a thief. And this is the only chip that doesn't. This chip allows you to watch programming that you pay for legally. And one of the neat things I think about this chip is if you do decide to go to a channel you're not authorized to go watch, and it comes up, you can just go back to your stock U30, because your stock seed keys, because this runs 2 sets of seed keys and 2 identification number, and you can see what GI is doing to your box. One of the ways GI has been turning off boxes is turning you on for programming you're not authorized for, and then turning you off for your program you are authorized for. And before, you never knew that was happening to you unless you put back in a stock U30 chip in your box, and nobody ever did that. Well, this chip does it for you. But I don't believe that those are the reasons you should buy this chip. I believe you should buy this chip because it allows you as a customer to put this chip in your box and to get a set of seed keys if you already don't own one, if your seed keys are missing for whatever reason, or you're running off a clone number, in other words, and get an ID number, and there are people out there that are selling it from $50 to $150 for that information. Load your box up legally, and thereafter be able to subscribe to programming and go totally legit. And if somebody comes to your home and says, you got this chip in your box, you can say, yes, I do, but I'm totally legit, you see? And you go and you show them you have a stock U30, and basically it's stock. Does that mean you still can't cheat and watch programming? No, it doesn't mean that. You can still steal programming with this chip. But it means, to me, that you're attempting to do the right thing. I guess if you're like, no, you're not like an alcoholic that keeps on going back to drink. No, you can't be like that. You've got to, once you put this chip in, you got to stay legal, folks. Don't go switching back and forth to the preview mode. Only those people in Canada and out in the Caribbean can use the preview mode on this chip. If you're in the U.S., you should not just use the preview mode. You've got to stay stock. Anyway, if you want to buy that chip, you can call 519-979-9292. And you go to give them a call, and he'll tell you all about it. I understand they finally have a real system set up, and they're really shipping product out there. Well, there are only 2 people I want to talk about, and then I'm going to go to some tape, and they are Lee Hadlock and S&S Reception. They both repair boards. You're going to see their name up there. If you have trouble with your board, you have a dead battery, and you need seed keys, or if you, for whatever reason, if your board is dead, they will make only legal repairs to your board. As you can see, Lee has moved to Hot Spring, Arkansas. I guess Hot Springs isn't that hot, because a lot of, well, it is hot because everybody's moving there, but it must not be so hot that you sweat because everybody does move there. That's a hotbed of activity in this industry. That's where Satellite Watch comes from as well, the old blank box or black box newsletter. Resorts Publishing, or not now, I think it's called Group M. Anyway, that's that. And the next guy is S&S Reception. They too can repair your board reasonably and quickly. They both have very fast turnaround. They both have very reasonable charges for repairing your board. And you can check out old S&S. Either one will do the right thing by you. Give them a call or send your board to them. They'll repair them and do it at a reasonable price, cheaper than anybody else I know. That's all for tonight. Stay tuned for some scramble programming that will be on for those of you that have the YR decoder, the Yellow Rain decoder. The reason we scramble this programming is very simply, we need to make money with this programming. If you buy a decoder and 2 years of programming, we make a few dollars to keep this programming on the air. That's the purpose of it. It's not always scrambled. Sometimes it doesn't get scrambled for a couple of weeks, and other times it gets scrambled every other night. That it doesn't happen very often, but it is designed to give information out to people that want to see this information stay out there. So thank you very much, and get your wire decoder. You can call Green Sheet right now at 201-707-1800. Thank you. But if you don't feel that way, if you're happy stealing and you think you're going to steal forever, if you're that dumb, and you are if you think you're going to keep on stealing, then sit back there and let it happen to you, because it's going to happen. It's going to crash down on you, and life is going to get pretty shitty. And that's the truth. And all those little words I used to exemplify what I said, it had to be used. All right. Cable rates are going up like you care. Well, you should care if you're a satellite dealer. They're up 1.3% in the month of June alone. This is good for you satellite dealers. Get on it. Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you about some other events that might be happening. There are some pay-per-view events that might be happening. Well, one, for instance, for sure, is LaToya Jackson is going to be pay-per-view on First Run and request in, I think it's September 8th. There's some other pay-per-view and, more importantly, closed-circuit events that are happening out there for you dealers and consumers. Yes, you consumers very well might be able to finally get some of these pay-per-views that are here before blocked from your vision. You people that own bars and restaurants and Knights of Columbus will finally get some closed-circuit events that you here before have not been able to get. All you need to do is tell us that you're interested, that you as a satellite dealer want to do downlinks, that you as a bar or you as a Knights of Columbus hall that have a dish, or if you are a member of Knights of Columbus and you would like to do a downlink there, or know that the Knights of Columbus hall would like to present a fight or a concert or some other form of pay-per-view event, a closed-circuit event, that it is available to you. No one's addressed you before. Let's make this industry happen. Let's build it up by letting the world know that there's incredible programming delivered via satellite that you can get if you have a dish or you rent a dish for a night. You dealers can make money with it, particularly if you prefer to be a little bit more entrepreneurial and actually rent the hall or rent the bar or rent whatever, the building, the theater, to hold the event in. There's a lot of events that can be brought to you via closed circuit if you're out there and want to produce them. Again, if you're interested in doing that, fax it to me. Fax me the information that says, yes, I'm interested, or call the girls during the day and let them know, or just send a postcard in. The address, please put up our address, Alita. Call, there's our address. Call us and let us know, or write us and let us know. It doesn't take much. I mean, you've invested so much in this business to think you can't invest in a 21 or 22-cent postcard, whatever they cost now, is hard for me to understand. Now, there are two people that have been busted and are really under the gun, and I urge you to think about them. I urge you to do it because you haven't done it in the past. Well, you have, some of you. Some of you have been very grateful, or very gracious to me. But when anybody else has come under the gun, I don't think you've been very supportive. And I believe that this particular case, there's actually two of them, you should get supportive. Alita, put up, if you would, please, the Satellite Legal Defense Fund in Oklahoma. Now, this First Defense Fund is for Mark McNutt. Mark has lost at this point. He's going to file an appeal. He's going to need money for this appeal. The lawyers are quoting him $10,000. His lawyer, by the way, is Lazure, L-A-I-Z-U-R-E, Lazure. Anthony is his first name. But the defense fund that's the name of it. It's the Satellite Legal Defense Fund, and it goes to that bank, the guarantee, National Bank, and just mark it, and that's the account number. And it goes there, and that money is used to pay the lawyer. Now, the lawyer feels we have incredible opportunity here, but lawyers always say that because they want the money. But you got to understand what's up against this guy's up against. He's up against a conspiracy crime, which was the real thing they're going after you dealers on. And you really want to fight this conspiracy. Most importantly, you want to bring GI in this conspiracy fight. GI is a true conspirator in all this, and you want to make them come into it. It's not going to come into it just by this little guy saying, I want to bring GI into it. It's going to come into it because a lawyer has to go do discovery on GI. A lawyer has to bring GI, get GI involved, and prove that GI is the real conspirator in this. The lawyer has to bring other evidence in that's going to take time and money to develop. But if you don't fight this one, then every time you go to court, you're either going to plea bargain your case down to a misdemeanor, which is great, but it's a misdemeanor. Do you want to be in the papers? Do you want to have that on your record? Do you really want to have that? And more importantly, do you want to have to run the risk of possibly some DA deciding he doesn't want to let you plea bargain? He wants to go after your throat? Because if McNutt loses this, this is going to be the case cited in all the other cases. So you got to fight this one. You didn't want to fight so much. I mean, you did all right. You did good with me. Really, you did. $70,000, $60,000, whatever it came out to. I'm pretty sure it was closer to 70. I mean, you did great supporting me in the fight. But I mean, we were fighting the deepest pockets ever. I mean, we're still winning because I'm still here. When I'm off this air is when they've won. But so you're still winning. The $70,000 you invested, you did wisely, and you did good. We'll do better if we get an appeal, and I think we'll get an appeal. I can't say we're definitely going to get an appeal. I have no idea. But if we get our appeal, we're going to do good because I think you'll realize how important this fight that I'm involved in is, and you'll support it. But that is, our fight is one fight. Our fight is freedom of speech, the ability to deliver to you the right information, so I'm not compromised, being prevented from giving you free information. But in McNutt's case, that affects you dealers and you possibly consumers. That's a conspiracy case that they're trying to lay down against him, and is going to, if they win on this, you will all be destroyed. This will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. This is the case they didn't want to bring. You know, they much rather plea bargain for the sure win. If they get a win this way, then they'll always go, why plea bargain? I can easily get you on this, and I'll go for $500,000. That's what you're looking at, and damn it, you dealers had better see it. If you're involved anyway in chipping, you don't want anybody to know who you are, send it anonymously. But do it, because this is your last hope before they come knocking at your door. This is what you're going to have to use to fight them with. This is going to be the only way you're going to fight them with this case. So there it is. And you can choose not to do this. You can choose to keep the $100 or $200 in your pocket. No problem. But when you do that, remember that if they bust you, you're looking at $4,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 for legal fees. You will probably fail. You may be looking at $500,000 fine. This is not an easy go down, folks. This is going to be a hard go down if it goes down. So don't be stupid here. Don't be too cheap. And I'm not making a nickel on this. He's not giving Sean a kickback or anything. Nothing's going down here. I just see the value of fighting this, and I hope you do too. The other case, which is another important case, but he's not looking for money yet, although he should be. If you were smart, you'd send money here too. Let's put up the next one. And that is Jack Landy. Jack is from the Crow Reservation. Now, we've all seen the old flyers coming in from the Crow Reservation, how he's got all this product on there, and maybe he didn't do it the smart way. Maybe he shouldn't have been involved in shipping. I don't know what he did wrong, but maybe he did do something wrong. But I can tell you this. The real culprit is GI. And this is the judge here in this case has given Jack the opportunity to present evidence that GI is indeed involved. Now, if you have any evidence, send it to Jack. If you don't have evidence, but you got a few dollars, send it to Jack. Because money will buy evidence. Not going to buy any illegal evidence or any lying evidence. But with money, you can go out and develop the evidence you need. You don't understand how expensive this is, but it is truly expensive. And if you don't support these people that are fighting for you, yes, they're fighting for them. And yes, they should have saved all their money. But maybe Jack's got 50 kids. And maybe the other guy, McNutt's, just supporting a family. Maybe he really didn't do anything wrong. And maybe Jack never made the money that some people say they made. I don't see any of these people driving Mercedes or living well. Yes, I know chippers that are, but I don't see these guys who potential chippers are. So they need your support so that they can fight your battle before it becomes your coast or your battlefield. Because when it gets to your battlefield, you're going to be laying, instead of hundreds out of your pocket, you'll be laying thousands again. So find some evidence for Jack. The judge said, listen, you prove to me GI is involved. I'll consider GI as the culprit here. Now, I think I have some evidence that will give Jack credibility. I don't know whether you do. I think if you know TCOM, and TCOM might have some evidence, certainly the hundreds of thousands of video ciphers they've sent into Canada and only authorizing a couple of hundred is evidence that GI is involved with piracy. If you if you know something and you want to just call it into us, call our operator and tell me to be someplace, or I'll give you a number to reach me on a payphone or something. I'll find a way for you to give me that information. If you know, we got a lot of information. We did that before. We have some really fine information on GI. fine stuff, but not enough. We have one key ingredient that would really do well to implicate GI, but it's going to take some bucks. It would be good for Landy to use it. We'll use it in our case when we get our appeal. But Jack could use this now. But this is not going to be cheap information. He's got to depose somebody that knows a lot. But it's going to cost him some bucks. And Jack's pig-headed. He's hard. He doesn't want to accept money, and he doesn't want to do it. He wants to defend himself in this. But he's going to lose. Send him the money to say, Jack, don't fight it yourself. I don't want you to lose. Because if you lose, I lose. Not me. You, the dealer who's chipping, or you, the consumer that might have a chip back, lose if he loses. So help him get that information. Let's depose some of the people that have to be deposed. Let's get the information that has to be gotten. And it can happen. It can go down the right way. It can go down the real way. Stop letting these cable people destroy this industry. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for Green Sheet. And I really thank you, because if you listen to this stuff for the last half an hour, however long it's been, it's taken, some patience on your part. But, I hate doing this. Fortunately, I don't have a talk show that goes on up every night, because I'd probably do it every night. Because it's to sit here and to see so many of you out there do absolutely nothing to defend yourself or defend the next guy hurts so much. It hurts so much because some of us in this industry have spent 4 or 5 years trying to fight this battle. And to think that a few of you can't spend a couple $100 and a day or two of your time to fight the battle really hurts. It makes us think how stupid we are. I mean, Chuck saw it, I think, and he got out. Bob Cooper saw it, and he got out. Lots of people have seen it and gotten out. And I just sit here and I say to myself, you've got to be the dumbest shithead in the world to still be doing this. But I really don't see any other way to hopefully come out of this. I don't want to start a new career. I mean, I got 8 or 9 years in this business, so do a lot of you. This is our career. Do we really want to walk away and start a new career because cable doesn't want us to exist? So I'm going to keep on fighting as long as I can. And all I ask you to do is buy product from Green Sheet so Green Sheet can afford to pay me a salary, and they're willing to keep this program on the air, and fight the few battles that have to be fought. The Landy fight, the Pickett on CBS fight, the McNutt fight. We got to fight these people, and it's going to get worse. GI has not gone off and hired all these FBI agents for fun and games. You don't really, think about it. They went out and hired the FBI agents, so the FBI agents have the in to the FBI to keep it going. It's going to get worse. It ain't going to get better until we learn how to fight. Thank you and good night. Welcome. This is Boresight, and I'm Sean Kenny. This is our exhibitor's pass from the Satellite Dealers Coalition. And one of the things I want to cue in on is this thing right here. This is probably the greatest thing that Stu Shankman, whoever did it, did, which was we are family. And I don't know about you, but I don't feel like I'm part of a family. Never have. Always felt I'm like an outcast, and I guess I've done that to myself because I'm so super critical. But as you will hear me say in Green Sheet tonight, I think it's very important that somebody be the opposite from what everybody else is, because everybody else is out there painting the picture all rosy. And if you don't believe me, you should be in Nashville, Tennessee right now, and you'll hear a rosy picture being played by GI about the new Video Cipher 2 Plus solving all the piracy problems. Well, if that's the case, somebody should ask the SPCA, why are they still budgeting $4.5 million to stop piracy? If the Video Cipher 2 Plus is really coming out in October, and that's all that will be available come January, why will there be any more piracy? Let me tell you about that VC2 Plus, because I've read a lot about it recently, and I've heard a lot from people that have called in. I want to first thank John McDougall for calling us and giving us information about some of the things that have gone on in Nashville, as others have as well. But John reports he did attend a meeting at the trade show in Nashville, where General Instruments was introducing the Video Cipher 2 Plus and making a lot of statements. A lot of statements that they couldn't back up with any credible evidence, namely that none of the programmers are not going to be able to switch up to the new tiers. As far as they were willing to say, GI said is they don't think legally they can stop them from switching up to new tiers, but they don't think they're going to switch to the new tiers. And on the other hand, they are saying, out of the other side of their mouth, that definitely piracy will stop after the new Video Cipher 2 Plus is out. They're also saying that it's going to cost you up to $300 if you have a module that has been compromised. Plus, we are told from other sources that they're going to charge you an additional $250 for programming fees, assuming that you have watched programming in the last year, a year and a half, or 2 years, as long as you've had the old Video Cipher. And they're going to charge you programming fees for that. For those of you, now this is what really gets me, for those of you that just bought a Video Cipher and have a Video Cipher 2 board in your box, they're going to charge you $129 to upgrade you to the new Video Cipher, when indeed there is no price increase for the first Video Ciphers 2 Pluses that come out. They are not going to increase it. Furthermore, there is no increase or no charge for the uplinkers to incorporate the new equipment in their head ends, and we are told there's going to be no charge to the cable companies to install new boxes in their downlinks. So the only people that are going to pay for this conversion to the Video Cipher 2 is you, the consumer, and you, the satellite dealer. Now, I've urged you and urged you to please write your senators and congressmen 20, 20, and 60 minutes explaining to them the issues here to try to stop this Video Cipher 2 Plus from coming out. I don't know whether enough of you have done it. We do seem to get about 20 to 30 letters in here a week asking for information. That is not nearly enough. We should be getting in here 200 or 300 letters a week. 20 or 30 are good, but not enough. We need more people to make a difference. Now, what do you get when you send us a self-addressed envelope with 2 stamps on it? You get the following information. Number 1, GI has known from the beginning that the Video Cipher was compromised. They went to the summit that took place in Providenciales. They saw how the Video Cipher was being compromised, and they absolutely made no corrective measures to the Video Cipher to stop the ways it was being broken. Indeed, they capitalized more than any other individual on piracy. Namely, and this can be proven, that they shipped hundreds of thousands of decoders into Canada, knowing full well that less than 1% of those were being authorized. So obviously, they capitalized, if anyone did, on piracy more than anyone did. Number 2, that the Video Cipher 2 Plus is not high-definition compatible. That was the other great lie in Nashville. They tried to allude to the fact that it was indeed going to be high-definition compatible. However, there is no high-definition standard at this point, and all high-definition standards that have been tested up to this point would or would not be Video Cipher 2 compatible. Therefore, being the satellite is going to be the very first people to get high-definition TV, you will need a new decoder when and if the high-definition comes out, and indeed most people think it will be out within 3 years. So, another great lie from GI. Those should be substantial enough to make you get mad enough to see that they are ripping you off and about ready to rip you off once again. Indeed, if the Video Cipher 2 Plus does come out, this industry is headed right for the toilet. One of the other things that did come out at Nashville was that there's new PR campaign that they're launching with Hill & Knowlton, which is a major, I think, the second largest public relations first. Are they the first? The first largest public relations firm in America. There is no campaign to introduce satellite to the mass public in any area where there is cable. They do not believe that satellite should compete with cable. Now, if that's not a storybook right out of the cable magazine, I don't know what is. And for those of you that are contributing to that, I think you should start stamping your feet up and down, because certainly our greatest success will lie in cable franchise areas. Before, we have always done well in cable franchise areas. I know 2 dealers that do extremely well and only sell in cable franchise areas. and probably they are some of the biggest dealers in this country, to believe that we can grow to the growth that we should experience and accept and enjoy without going into cable franchise area is very naive, and certainly one would have to conclude is done for the benefit of TCI, which is a major contributor to the SPCA, as well as HBO and Showtime. So again, we are being ripped off by the SPCA. Now look for their latest statistics that come out of Nashville, alluding to the fact there were thousands of dealers in Nashville. On the first day, the biggest day traditionally in any trade show, there were less than 400 dealers on the floor, which would mean it was less than that what took place in St. Louis. We'll look for numbers from the distributors there and manufacturers. However, according to two people that reported to us, there were more programmers on exhibitors than there were manufacturers. The manufacturers that did seem to enjoy good traffic was the Chaparral with the Monterey. However, most people felt it was too expensive, as well as the remote control needed a lot more work. Uniden, with their new receiver, which incorporated the Super Guide, a product of Triple D, which is a satellite guide that you get off a satellite rather than writing paper. You read it off your television screen. They seem to enjoy the most amount of traffic. Also, Ecosphere enjoyed brisk traffic as well, we're told. Now, there are some late developments that have come out that you should be aware of. The House Telecommunications Subcommittee, headed by Markey, which is the Democrat from Massachusetts, reported that cable is an unregulated monopoly. It has indeed increased its price for basic over 30% in the last 2 years, and it needs to be regulated. Now, that is excellent news for this industry. As long as the Hill is on the cable bandwagon, let's give them some more information, more work, more things to do, more things to control cable with. If there were ever a leveler of cable, it would be competition. And today, this very day, the only competition cable enjoys is that of the satellite dish, and that the satellite dealer and the consumer. Therefore, the only way we can compete with cable, because we have to have programming, is to have third-party packaging of programming. Again, I ask you to go to your senators and your congressmen and ask them certainly to support the Senate Bill S834 and 833. Those are Mets and bombs bills, and they were extremely important for the support. They are probably the only really bills that give good information about the satellite community, or hope to give us third-party packaging and programming. And the other thing I would urge every satellite dealer who happens to be a member of the SBCA, and I don't imagine too many are watching me right now, but if you are, I urge you to please write your trade association, that being the SBCA for broadcast, and ask them why is it, if none of the bills before in Congress are akin or liking to them, why have they not asked a senator or congressman to introduce a bill that indeed would give us third-party packaging program? Because they continue to allude to the fact that certainly if there were a bill that did do that, they would support it. Why is there no bill on Congress that they are supporting that does do it, and why don't they get some senator or congressman to introduce it? I've seen nothing from them to get that to happen, nor has anyone else. ESPN on August 5th will have a preseason clash between the San Francisco 49ers and LA Rams, so you'll want to see that. It also will be seen in Tokyo. It's actually being done somewhat for Tokyo people. Also, the American Movie Classic. I know a lot of you are elderly out there and like the American Movie Classic network as well. You should. They have a new show called The Movie Meter, and it started August 2nd. It's on a weekly basis. It's a trivia game show. It's reminiscent of the 50s and 60s game shows of, what was that? Guess the, yeah, What's My Line and those type of thing. It's hosted by Gene Rayburn, and it's got Kitty Carlisle. I think she was back then at those times. And Clive Barnes and Peggy Cass. What? I can't hear. True, the consequences, right. On August 6th, look for The Prairie Home Companion, a story told by Garrison Keeler. It's it's shot on Lake Wollongong. Woobegone. What's wrong with me? Woobegone. And I don't remember what station that is. And GeoVision has a, which is Telemundo, has a fantastic exotic travel show. And by the way, for those, it's August 6th, by the way. And for those of you that don't know it and are looking for Bob Baird, the old guy that Bob Cooper used to write about every single month in Cooper Satellite Digest, Bob is very big in Telemundo. And if you're looking for him, just give him a call there and you can find him. On August 21st through the 24th on F2R, which, speaking of F2R, let me remind you, we will be on Transponder 3 tonight at 12 o'clock midnight. We will have a special 15-minute show that will be aired 4 times for that 1 hour. It only goes for 15 minutes. It's extremely important for those dealers and any of you that own nightclubs or bars or restaurants. You should tune in. It's an opportunity that you will have that no one else has been giving you. By the way, back to this F2R on August 21st to the 24th. F2R, Transponder 13, noon to 8 p.m. is an hourly report from Voyager 2. That's the space shot, or the shuttle, or whatever you want to call it, that is going out to take pictures of Neptune. So that will really be fascinating to see, and you'll want to check that out. That's the 21st to the 24th. I might remind you again about that, but I don't know. CNN is now available on First Choice in Canada, and in November, the Comedy Channel is to be launched by HBO, and it is free to cable companies. I don't think it's going to be free to use satellite consumers, but it is free to cable companies through the year of 1989. They will start charging you, cable companies, 7 cents a month in 1990. Let's see what they want to charge us for the Comedy Channel. And beginning August 22nd at 1 a.m., that's in the morning, folks, C-SPAN will be airing a 10-minute special. This is for school kids, by the way, on how the government works. The idea is for schools to record the information and play it back during the normal classroom hours, because it is 1 a.m. in the morning. They do it on off hours to, because they think there's a limited market there. And you can record it. Now, that is not just the only thing that's going for school kids. I urge every satellite dealer to get on the bandwagon and trying to get a system into the local schools. There are people that are going to be offering school satellite systems free. You will not be getting any press if that occurs, because you will not be the one doing it. There are ways for you to get equipment to small or discount if you get involved, I'm sure. There are manufacturers that will give you discounted. There is every reason for you to try to get a free system into a school, because there are free services for schools. There's the C-SPAN, there is CNN's, and there's the other service by, it's not Willett, but it's something like that. I reported a couple weeks ago, I forget, I'll do it again. But the other service by CNN, let me explain to you about how that works. It airs at 3:45 in the morning. You can pick it up. However, there's additional information that is only available through Express, which is a modular that works, I believe, with the video cipher, which is, it gives you hard copy of information that you would reproduce on your copy machines and then hand it out to the kids as they're watching the piece from CNN. But it is a nightly show, and it's extremely good for children. However, it is not going to be, there's an 800 number, I don't have it for you, but you could call CNN for it if you need it. It is excellent for dealers to try to promote that in the schools. And speaking of dealers, there is a co-op plan for dealers from Toshiba. It's $4 for every one. Every $1 you spend for it, Toshibas will spend $4 in an effort to promote their product. They have the ad slicks and the other information you need to place in your local newspapers or radios. They also even have TV spots, I believe. Speaking of TV spots, radio spots, and the like, believe it, I don't see that thing, the press kit. You don't have to? What we have here is, this is, oh, there it is, okay. This is Playboy, and that's LaToya Jackson on the front of it. This is the March issue of Playboy. And if you're not familiar with LaToya Jackson, she is the sister of Michael Jackson. She's a performer, and she's really quite remarkable. She looks a lot like Michael, as most people have commented. You would think, is this really Michael with a different hairdo? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is really Michael. She sings like Michael. She acts like Michael, except she's got a much nicer body than Michael, I must say. She's got a quite remarkable body. I don't know why 2020's up there, but let me get her up here. The reason I have this up here is not because I'm endorsing Playboy. Although I haven't seen Playboy in a number of years, my wife keeps on telling me I don't need Playboy, I have her. But after seeing Playboy, she's right, I guess. Although Playboy is quite enjoyable. All right, well, anyway, the reason that's there is because LaToya is doing a concert tour. It's going to be all over the world, and it's going to be, she's getting quite a name for herself. Not only has she done Playboy, she's writing a book, and she's quite a performer, as I said. And she's starting with a live via satellite performance in Reno, in Bally's. And this is the first time, now listen to this please, this is incredible news. This is the very first time that the satellite dealers have been asked to participate as an industry. This is the first time that bars and restaurants and any commercial establishment will be able to pick up this feed, pay for it at a very reduced rate, and show it and make money without stealing it. Now, the normal pay-per-view price is being offered on cable video store request and viewer's choice, and some of you might say right off the bat, well, hell, if it's on those things, everybody will steal it. Well, first of all, look at the date, September 5th. Anyway, the keys are going to go out to viewer's choice and cable video store on the 4th. Therefore, there won't be any wizard keys available, so you're not going to be stealing it. You might get audio, but you ain't going to get video, so let's forget about stealing it. Now, some of you dealers might be saying, well, if I've probably got a few bars out there, but I know a lot of them have modified boxes. How are they going to get it? Because they will have to be authorized. Well, fella, just stick a decoder in it that can be authorized. That's all you have to do, because the entire authorization is being done through us, through a second party, and the information you give us will go no further than us. I'm not suggesting that, not suggesting anything. I'm just suggesting that if there's some reason that your present location would not be able to pick it up because you do not have identification